Coach, like we talked about, they're coming in probably with some adrenaline after Game 7. You guys had a chance to rest and recharge here. Just with that, is there any extra emphasis on maybe the first 10 minutes or so as you guys feel each other out?
Yeah, both teams have some things that could be really good for them coming in, right? They're in a rhythm. They come off a real big high. We've had some, I mean, the rest isn't the right word, it's recovery, right? You get 2 days off at home, you're rested, the recovery, all the bruises are gone, and we feel pretty strong. So, not so much, I mean, we know we're gonna have to be ready for this first 10, but I think only as ready as the next 10 and the next 10. This is gonna be very close, really hotly contested, but I think it'll be very physical, very fast, but I also think that what might be different, it'll also be very disciplined. Maybe last year each team was trying to mark their territory early, and that every check got finished. That's the game one was as heavy a game as I can remember, and both teams know they can now. So I think this thing is heavy. It's hard, but I think the difference it will look a lot more disciplined this year than last year.
Any lineup changes?
None.
How do you looking back? I think we asked you this 4 days ago, but let's talk about it again. Sasha, Barkov, that top line with Barkov, just not the defensive matchups like you talked about yesterday, but just how the flow of the game goes with them, those three together.
Yeah, well, it's an understandable question. The lines are together, but not because of that line. It's the Lusterund and Reinhart line is why that got changed, because they in the back half of the Boston series, and then we had some injuries as well. That became a line that we played against the other team's best on it. Or the other team probably found that line on the road because it was the young line, and they're just very, very strong on both sides of the puck. So that was kind of why we put them together. Felt we needed to be able to change the match if we had to. The Barkov and Verhaeghe have been good together. They've played together. It's just Tkachuk and Barkov haven't played much together because we haven't needed them to, and there's no reason to. Bennett and Tkachuk are just a really good pair. In a small amount of time last year that those guys went together, you thought, wow, that could be pretty dynamic. That could be pretty good if you left it. But you are top heavy on a line then. It's a little less concerning at home than it is on the road. So we'll run it here and see.
I mean, does Reinhart becoming the player that he has this season and reaching those numbers that he has kind of makes you more comfortable running those two together?
I think the playoffs first last year, I think that really, I felt especially in the Toronto series and then into the Carolina series that was the line that may have swung the series for us. They were very, very good, but they're also playing in the 3-hole. Now they're in the 1 or 2-hole, depending on how we match. But Lundell's not a first or second year player anymore. Now he's coming of age, so Reinhart was as good last year as he was this year. Just didn't score 56. His game is as good. I mean, he's like Barkov. They don't have games where you wonder where their heads are defensively. They just don't. They start. That's their starting point always.
Paul, with for those of us that don't know Ford's line very well, you know, what makes him so great? I mean, just looking at him around the team, he seems to be in incredible shape. What has made him so good, and did you even know that he could be as good as he's been?
Well, we were in Winnipeg, right, when that was all happening. I think we were too far down the list to pick him up. I think, and some of this is an outsider because I didn't see that first part. It's just a late bloomer physically. And it wasn't from a lack of work ethic. It's just some men mature physically. It takes them longer because now he's our most elite athlete, our fittest man. He's powerful, strong, huge tank. His name is #1 in the fitness chart. I mean, the last 4 years, I believe, anyway, he's won that fittest man. So now, what makes him great is he's just maximized everything that he can do. But he had to do that to get into the league. So you had to kind of scratch and claw and fight and maximize. And then all of a sudden, you know, every year you come back 5 pounds heavier, 5 pounds heavier, it's all lean, and you're a little bit faster, a little bit stronger. He's probably timed the NHL perfectly. He is an elite skating defenseman that can kill plays with his feet and his stick. He's been very durable for us.
And I wanted to ask you, first off, a couple coach questions. First, did you talk with Pete after their big win last night? And secondly, Rick Bowness just announced that, or it's reported that he's retiring and from the Jets.
I sent Pete a text this morning. I didn't figure he'd be calling me last night.
No. He seemed happy.
It's past my bedtime, but I did stay up for it, so I was cheering for him. I'm happy for him. His team played incredibly well. We'll connect probably over the next couple of days, but we're both right back in the fire. I think they go tomorrow.
Right.
So we'll catch up at some. It's pretty impressive. His team's doing very well. For Rick, I worked with his son for a while in Winnipeg. That's a guy you want to sit and talk hockey with.
Right.
Because he's got a perspective and experience from players, different leagues, assistant coaches. I mean, just everything. A lifetime. I'm happy that he's the rare opportunity as a coach to call your shot. He did a marvelous job with that team over the last 2 years, and they played exceptionally well. I hope he's appreciated for the work he did there. I know the people there appreciate him, but he did a really strong job.
And he's got a place down here. Do you guys ever run into each other, or is it just one of those things where he's in and out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure where he is, what side of the hand it is. We haven't crossed paths. I don't golf much or at all, so that kind of limits the off time.
What would it change for you if they go with Ullmark instead of Swayman, if anything?
Yeah, we do a pre-scout at the start of the series on both goalies. I don't know, 90% of what we say about both goalies is the same regardless of who they are. At the end of the day, we know exactly where they're going to be the entire night.
From the outside, what have you noticed the way they were able to evolve through adversity in the first round, the Bruins?
I think that's probably better described by the people there, because the really good stuff isn't the stuff we see on the outside. It's the stuff that they see. It's there's pressure at 3-1, and to be able to do what they did. I mean, it was really compelling, right? Both teams with the storylines that were going on, the pressure. I don't have an answer because I don't know what it's like to walk into a Game 7 in that situation. I mean, the size of the markets. I don't know. Somebody called the Game 4 loss in Toronto worst loss in franchise history. So the hyperbole that goes on in that series was awesome. But then in part it's real, right? Game 7. I mean, it was awesome to watch. Really, I enjoyed the hockey, the tension that was built in. It was great for fans. It never is for the team that loses. It always is for the team that wins. But for hockey fans, it was just a whole lot of people that are fans of either team were watching and enjoyed that evening. It was great.
How do you defend that little slingshot play that the Bruins had on that overtime winner?
Oh, yeah. The payoff on a cross corner dump is very, very low. A cross corner pass, though, by this time, it's hard play to hit. I think it was mostly off the line change that made that happen, and Pasternak's just ability to read the play. He could see that change, and Marner took an awful lot of heat, but they run a different neutral zone than what Boston does. So the expectation of who's got whose guy, you want to be careful with that one, because you really need to know what the team runs before you call a guy out, because what we run in our neutral zone is completely different than what Boston was. So we would have a completely different person picking up that wide sling. That's just me telling you that not all the analysis of what happened on that play might be accurate. But you know what? That's what's great about hockey, right? Like, you got two teams here, and from the coaching staffs, we don't have another job. This is all we do, right? Trying to figure out how to shut the other team out. Again, all of these guys have played this game forever, so you got just a whole bunch of experts trying to deny the other team's strengths, augment your own. And that's just going to come down to the players, right? Their will and their skill, how hard they play, and what they can do with it once they get there. It's awesome.
How close is Sam Bennett getting back into team practices? I know he's skating on his own, and is there a set number of practices he needs to be with the team before throwing back?
So there's no conditioning test he needs to pass to be able to go back and play. Good skate yesterday, good skate. We won't have any more team practices. We don't really practice as a team in between rounds unless there's two, so there won't be a team practice. He's going to get out there. He's not far off. We're happy with where it is.
Thank you. Thanks everyone.
Okay,
Thank
guys.
you very much.